Hello. Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, Bob.
Oh,
Good morning, good morning.
This is Bob. That's Tim. There's Kelly. There's Jared. Mr.
Joe.
J. So, DevSport Office Hours. It's Monday. It's June 8th. It's the June 8th edition of OUYA Dev.
There we go.
I think this week
Oh, awesome.
definitely needs sound effects.
Well played.
Yeah. You really forget how awesome those are.
Yeah, they just hide there.
Do you guys play any games this weekend?
I played. I just tweeted about it. I played some I'm finally getting to Grand Theft Auto 5,
I
and I had to
gotta see this tweet.
I had to get my husband to stand right in front of the TV to read me all the instructions that were popping up during an especially intense mission because the text is too small for me to
Oh
read.
no.
Like, I really feel like the next generation of AAA games will have to have a font size increase option on them because I'm getting too old.
I don't know. I mean, is that really
Now, they did at a certain point
Jared?
give the option to just skip the mission entirely, so I feel like that's the old people option. But, it'd be
Is
nice.
that I don't know if that's really your fault if the game's fault. I mean, I doubt it's got anything to do with you being old though.
Yeah, it's because I can't read, like, small font that's not. I mean, I don't have a giant television either,
Mhm.
so, I mean, I think there are certain expectations about like a lot of I think a lot well I think Grand Theft Auto games seem to expect you to sit much closer than is recommended to your television
Ah,
anyways, but um no, I mean for sure it's like part of it is that I'm older and I can't see the font at a distance as well as I used to.
I mean, hopefully
Grand
more games
Theft.
get just more contextual in the visualization of what your goals are. Is instead of like reading, it is a visual medium. It goes all the way back to like HUD stuff too, about like seeing like a little health bar versus what your character looks like and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, so many people are playing on PC where it's also you're just much closer, and there are different expectations about how much you can or want to read. I think on your PC screen than on your
Hmm.
living room television. But it did feel a little dated that way. Like I think a lot of console games are more the information is more environmental or hidden within the environment and not you don't need as many pop-ups, but
Yeah, hopefully we get away from the land of numbers popping up above enemies all the time when you fight them.
my dream. Mm.
But it feels so good when the number is really big.
I'll make a game for you, Bob, where the numbers mean absolutely nothing. I'm just gonna have giant numbers flying out of enemies when you hit them.
So I'm guessing, have you not played any of the cookie clicker games and the monster clickers and stuff? Because Ryan was showing me this, and it's seriously you just clicking and the numbers get bigger, and like everyone's playing these. Everyone is playing these. Like a large chunk of people are playing these games.
Make me think of Cow Clicker.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not that it's not satisfying. I think it's just it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
you could have something just as satisfying, I think.
in Ryan's, whichever version Ryan was playing, you start. Maybe this is a normal thing. You start accruing like NPC teammates that click for you, and then you don't have to be clicking, and they'll just be clicking, and more frequent. I don't do this. I'm just talking about it.
Well, but you're right. It feels good. That no, a big number coming out.
There it is.
Yeah,
It's not it's undeniable. It's very satisfying.
it reminds me of just in pinball stuff too. It's just like points ended up becoming like there was a race to the most because because it was satisfying. So if you hit just a basic target, like in old games, like, oh, 10 points makes sense. It's a basic hitter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have all these other games later on where single hits, like 1,000 points. Like you might, like the amount of zeros at the end basically become pointless because everyone's like wants to make a game where you can get the most points possible or have the highest scores. And if your base is 1,000, then there's just really no point to having that.
Yeah. I was reading about, I don't know how I ended up down a rabbit hole reading about espers in Final Fantasy 3, 6, and Final Fantasy 6, where like the way they set up this ice dragon is like they drew it so that here's the first dragon, and then there's like 4 other invisible versions of the same dragon. If you have an attack that takes off a 10 bajillion points, it'll only kill the first version of that dragon, and so then it extended the battle that much longer. But that was kind of neat. I didn't know they did that. Tim's totally familiar with this though.
Yeah, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 1, 7, and 8. And I guess 13 and 14 are coming soon, but I think 13 is online play, and that should be out next month or something. So, looking forward to that.
Cool. What about you, Tim? What'd you play?
I went into the mountains and did some hiking, but on the radio, they were talking about Tetris, and I guess 60% of people that play Tetris dream about it that night. And so you can have a shared dreaming experience if you get a bunch of friends to play Tetris, because you'll all be dreaming about the same thing.
I have heard that.
Well, let's all go play, guys, and then we can all dream together.
Talk about a satisfying game. Man.
Yeah.
And we have Tetris in Discover, so they can play multiplayer Tetris.
Nice tie-in, Tim.
Yeah, that was good.
Way to market, dude.
Yeah, you learned from Jared, the best.
Wow. Like a segue. But I think that may be also why people like a lot of city builders, too, because in a way you are kind of playing Tetris where you've got interesting terrain. You're trying to make those perfect city blocks all fit in together and feed in and make that perfect area just right.
Facts. Mr. Jerry Yeager.
Sounds good, my friend. You're breaking up a little bit, so hopefully I'm not breaking up on everyone else's end as well. Going into the land of Discover, you have 1 day left to get 50% off on Meltdown. So definitely check that out. That's definitely one of the best online, offline multiplayer couch gaming experience combos that you can get on OUYA right now. So be sure to check that out in the next 24 hours. Also, new release, psychedelic-looking RoboCat 02, Roman numeral 2, Duo / I think Pi Judgment is also out, along with Doba Chaser and a really cool voxel or builder world game, Discovery. So be sure to check all of those out, and also want to give a nice shout out to Duck Game, which is now also available on Steam and on OUYA as well, of course. Congratulations, Landon, on that. And also be sure to check out the brand new live-action commercial that Adult Swim has been running for the game right now. It's pretty sweet. And there's, of course, lots of YouTubers showing that off, IGN giving it great praise. And got to give a good shout-out to Bob again for discovering that wonderful game from Landon. You have found the choice of a new generation, Bob, for crazy attention deficit syndrome smash / whatever you want to call it, arena battle games. Well done, sir. You and Landon knocked out a gem.
That's awesome. How did you just see him tweet something to find it?
To find what? Our friends over at Star Mazer and
oh, right.
Just gets this like tingle when something is happening. That means
Single. Yeah, and Don, who was also worked on Potato Man Seeks the Truth with Pixel Jam, made the trailer, and so yeah, it just went live. Just checked the interwebs, and they were tweeting that out. So yeah, Ouya in fact tweeted out yesterday. So it's good. It's good stuff. Definitely check it out.
Awesome.
100%
Oh,
positive reviews on Steam right now.
Total Biscuit reviewed it.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Good job, guy. Is that all the facts?
Yeah, I think the only thing for you to confirm, I believe Landon was going to be also continuing to update the Ouya version as well. I know some fans were asking about that. It sounded like he was going to keep doing that, so all you who've got Duck Game on Ouya, be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I think he's got to probably do some amount of like post bug fixing, but then I been
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Bet. There's the facts for right now.
Sweet. What do you think of those facts, Tim?
Pretty awesome.
You know what else is awesome? Grokking with Groutman.
Oh yeah. So we're talking about Tetris and cityscaping, and Jared said terrain, and I thought, oh, we could do some terrain stuff. So in the Unity Asset Store, they've got quite a few different environment packs for doing terrain, and I came across this one on Friday, which looks pretty awesome. So
Yeah, look
it's
at
the
that.
Stylized Nature Pack. It's got a great video, and the dev is working on sharing the example scene from the video. So it's looks quite good,
Oh,
and
so they made a sample scene using these assets that they show off in the video you can view.
yeah. So they created the packs and then put them together. Pretty
Wow.
awesome.
I want to do this and just, just throw in like a ambient music track. That's a game right there.
Yeah. Well, you just set it to your Windows background, right? And it just plays in the background.
Ah,
Pretty awesome looking.
that's really cool.
So I can show you how to use this stuff. So in addition to this nature pack, there's also another thing in the Unity Asset Store called Mesh Brush, where it uses the pack and it'll paint it right on top of the terrain with doing like, it has various randomizations, and it'll paint, you can assign a slope, so it'll only put it on certain slopes. And yeah, so I downloaded it into a demo project, and we can play around with it. Both packages also have a nice document that I can't move. There we go. So there's a PDF tutorial that walks you through how to make this nice scene using the pack. And oh my gosh, the battery's dying in my mouse. And then Mesh Brush has documentation on how to use the mesh tools to recreate scenes like this, painting on the terrain. So just go pick that up in the store and then bring it into a scene, and I'll just start fresh. I was playing around with the assets before we started, so I had something to talk about. So it's got like pieces for the background mountains, textures to paint on your terrain, and then all the different items you can place, and you can use those two tools in combination. So, all right, so let's start with a new scene, and then you can go Game Object, 3D, and then you create your terrain, and that's the starting point. We go to the scene. All right, and then Unity it has terrain painting, so you can just start with the terrain. And over here, it's got if you put terrain in your inspector, you can have brushes that will increase the terrain, and then it's got built into the undo redo system, so you can hit Control Z to undo, and it'll go back, which is pretty cool. And you can use all these different brushes for painting. It's got the slider where you can adjust the size that you're painting terrain with, and then you can mess with the opacity, so you can do just like a Photoshop brush, except for you're painting in with clay or digital clay, which is pretty cool. And then it's got tools for lowering the terrain, and then the part where you start to use the packs is if you go to the material part of things, and then you can edit textures. That first pack lets you add a texture, and we can go in, and it provides a bunch of different ground textures for painting with. So we'll just start with a ground texture, and then for the normal map, you grab the ground texture normal map, and you add that. Okay, and now we have a base to work with. So you're painting, and then we can add another texture. You can do some more stylized stuff because it has a nice tiling stone texture, and also the normal maps for that. Okay, add that, and now when you're painting materials, you can switch between different texture sets. And if I reduce my brush size, go with a different brush, okay. And now you can paint, and you'll notice it's a nice tiled texture, so it makes things look super, super nice. Okay, so then if you go back to your terrain elevation painting, you can go and paint some terrain. All right, so I'm digging a hole. Let's see. Let's go up. Okay. That's weird. Oh, maybe. Oh, it's going up. It just is the shading. I was like, it's digging a tunnel. Anyways, okay, so yeah, you can build on your terrain, and then you switch back to the material brush, and you can paint right on top of that terrain to give it style. And yeah, so it gives you a nice environment pack. So look at that. Okay, so when I was doing my example scene, I kind of started from kind of a perspective like this to get something interesting looking. So I started painting the background. All right, I'm going to turn up the opacity so I can paint faster. There we go. And I just started doing the skyline. There we go. Okay, and then also in the packs, the stylized packs, it also has these mountain sprites too. So I can bring in a mountain sprite. Here we go. And you can move that into place. Here we go. Okay, and then also I just increase the scale because it's pretty tiny. There you go. Now you have a nice background shaded mountain scene. Okay, so yeah, so it does the nice 2D backgrounds of the mountains. Then you have your painting, and then part of these material packs, it also has some other cool stuff you can do with it. And for that, I'll select the terrain, and if I go into Game Object and Paint Meshes on selected Game Object, okay, so this is the second tool where we can paint trees and things right on the terrain, but it has all these different sliders for adjusting. You can pick between a set of vegetation that you're painting with, and then you can define it to only put things on various slope ranges, and you can also alter the scale and rotation of the items so they look more unique. So this first thing is set of meshes to paint with, and right now there's not a game object selected. So we can go and we can click but select between the vegetation. So I can pick a tree. All right, cool. Okay, and if I click on the terrain, I get a little cursor for where my marquee is. I'll increase the brush size though. Where did that go? Here we go. Brush size. All right, there we go. There's the marquee. Okay, so now if I hit the P key, it'll place a tree everywhere where the marquee is. And then it's got all these different sliders. So we can, okay, there's the slope one. Okay, random scale. And we can say, okay, do different scales. So now every time that I paint a tree, there'll be different sizes. So you can get variability. And then here's where you see, oh, I'm painting, but maybe a tree needs to have a slope constraint. Otherwise, it's coming out sideways like that.
You're like
So
the Bob Ross of the digital world, Tim. You need to refer to it as a happy little tree.
It's a happy tree. All right, so you can put a slope filter on there, and now it won't place a tree anything bigger than a slope of 30. So now you can go through and paint a tree, get close, but it won't actually paint on these steep parts. You can get it on slopes, small slopes, but not anything too big. So you can keep your things looking more natural. And it's also got rotation. So we switch it from a tree to a rock. There we go. So now you can see when we're painting, the rocks always have the same orientation. So you can also adjust the variability of the rotation. So that would be, okay, we got slopes, scale, random rotation amount. So if you turn that all the way up, now when you're painting rocks, they'll have random rotations. So you can get things looking more variable. And then also this tool has other cool things, like it'll combine the meshes together. So it's drawn with fewer draw calls to get better performance. And you can paint like several. Let's do some, like we can paint 3 different things at a time, and I'll alternate between them. So if we want to have a few different rocks and have it automatically switch between the rocks. Here we go. So that's one kind, and now it's switching between the different available rocks. So you can do like a riverbed or something. And then you can use the 2 tools together. So now we can paint regular terrain and use the tool at the same time. You get interesting looking environments. They're all stylized using the available presets and prefabs. Pretty cool stuff. All right, that's it, Bob.
Oh, okay. Cool. Jared Yeager.
Bob Mills.
Oh, did you not hear me? I think I'm
No,
cutting out.
I just heard you say my name, and that was it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Doing.
I asked a question. There's a question up there. Do you want to read it? I'm all choppy.
What is with the fancy new avatars? I don't know if he means us.
I think he means yours.
Oh, well,
Your
mine was actually it was created by the fine people at OUYAforum.com. They were obsessed with my eyebrows. And they said they had magical powers to convince devs to do things. So they made an OUYA face of me, and I think you can't really see it. I think there's the J and a heart, and I think it says OUYA Forum at the bottom, but it got cut off. And yeah, so I decided to use it as my new icon for the dev hours. So thanks again to OUYA Forum for making that.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, rapid fire food game. I went to B Street and Vine, and they had these pancettas, and you pick which ones you want, and they got like crazy toppings on them. It was awesome. What about you, Tim?
Ooh, I think I had a picture. Here, skip me in, and I'll get back to you.
Here's a picture. I might be against the rules. I have to check the rule book.
He's going to the fridge to break out the spiral ham.
Jared or Kelly?
I had a really great salad last week, actually. That's like Jared's wife makes a really nice peach salad with bruschetta. No, not bruschetta, sorry.
Burrata.
Burrata cheese.
Yeah.
But this was with watermelon, which I hadn't had before, but it was equally as divine.
I can dig that. That sounds excellent.
Yeah, super summery.
Love
And
it.
outdoors at a camp. Haha. So I automatically win.
Did you go camping?
Well, I went glamping
yeah.
last week. So it was like camping, but with catering. It's quite nice.
Love it.
What about you, Jared? Did you camp? Because that is the multiplier.
No, although I am probably gonna be I'll be pitching an umbrella along with a water table for my child later this afternoon. Though, so it'll be like a little outdoor base of operations for her. So it'll be camp baby in the backyard. But yeah, I'd say forgot to mention from the other week this black cod with miso had on the anniversary was excellent. I don't know how they did it, but they glazed the fish in a way where even though you have to obviously cut the fish into like the flaky slices, somehow the sauce kind of marinated its way into every single slice you had of it. And it was I could have eaten like 3 pounds of it, and it came with this tempura, kind of this I think tempura like cauliflower or vegetable slices that kind of went along the side of it, with a little bit of extra miso drizzle. It was fantastic, and these tiny little like 2 bite crispy lobster tacos with a salsa on it. So good.
Jared's playing the anniversary meal versus the camp meal.
But I'm going to cancel myself out because that was actually from 2 weeks ago, and when we played 2 weeks ago, I forgot to mention it, so I am withdrawing myself from the competition to only be fair.
Yeah, and Kelly with the walk-off.
Where is Tim's picture?
All right. So I got a
Lost
classic
already, but
Italian over at Subway, but I brought it up to a mountain waterfall to eat it.
Oh man,
This is a view from up there.
what was yours, Kelly? What was your?
Mine was watermelon and burrata salad in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Not as nice a view, but quite nice.
Whoa, that is a nice view. I think this is still a technical victory for Kelly because
Because it
based
wasn't
on the
Subway.
I think the 2 camping trips then cancel each other out.
Oh.
And if Jared had eaten the anniversary meal in the same week,
then it's
he would have
pancetta.
won.
Pancetta.
Yeah, but no, I think you win with the.
Oh.
I will say, while I'm not the same Jared that represents Subway, I will say that what Tim did is probably the most accurate version of Eat Fresh that Subway will ever be getting to. So well
yeah,
done.
this is beautiful.
You made the tagline "Live the Dream."
Yeah, it was 3 miles to get up there, and then the elevation was like 1,400 feet or so.
Nice. You're a 5%er, aren't you? You are. Just trust me.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Congrats, man. Yeah. So.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
So go paint some
I mean,
terrains.
Yeah.
If you can fake Tim out on his actual pictures here versus what you build, Tim will make your next game for you.
That really is the best way to make games, is to start with a reference image and recreate things you see in nature.
Well, yeah, you will be way different than most games if you start with that. So, no lie.
Cool. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good week.
Have a good week, all. See you next time. Bye.